Welcome back, WNST, Towson, Baltimore, and Baltimore Positive. We are merging the streams for all things sports with other things that are Baltimore and Baltimore-centric and Baltimore interesting. And this is going to be a fun one because I'm going to throw myself on the mercy of a local and say that I've never visited Ladew Gardens.
Nestor.
But hey, this is good. This is where this is going to get good. Emerick is here. She is the executive director. She's going to, I'll get spanked before this is all over for not getting up Jarrettsville Pike, just up the road, a stone's throw from from where we are. My wife wants me to get out to Oregon Ridge and take walks and see deer and snakes and stuff all the time. But it is a pleasure to welcome you on. I will say that it's my birthday week, so as I'm getting older, I appreciate flora, fauna, leaves changing, all of the, these things, fall foliage, even pumpkin spice and apple spice like donuts, So I'm trying to feel seasonal with a mask on, but when I start to think about socially distanced things to do, and I've told this story twice this week, so there must be some meaning to this. When I was a boy, Mrs. Betsy Johnson was my sixth grade teacher, and we did a field trip to Philadelphia to see the Liberty Bell, but she loved nature. And we had plants in the classroom. We learned about photosynthesis, all this cool stuff. And she loved Longwood Gardens. So we would go to Longwood Gardens one time in 1979. I got a picture of me and my mom on a bench there. And it took me 41 years to go back to Longwood Gardens. And I went back for my wedding anniversary this summer. I've been telling my wife for 17 years, it's in Chad's Ford and Andrew Wyeth and mushrooms. So we finally went. So now there's you, there's Bordy, and I've told everyone, and you'll laugh at this, but I've lived in Baltimore and in Baltimore City literally my whole life. And my wife, during the pandemic with masks on, we picked up pizzas in Patterson Park, and she said, let's go walk over there. And I'm like, I don't know what's over there. She's like, well, then how do you know whether you're going to like it or not? And we found the pond and the garden at Patterson Park. So I guess it's apropos that I can welcome you in and you can tell everyone about another awesome place that I haven't been and why I need to come. So there, have at it. All right?
You know what? A lot of people apologize. The first thing they say when they find out what I do is that they haven't been out to Ladew. So apology accepted. Don't worry about that.
All right. So I went overboard in apologizing ahead of time. But I'm telling you, I'm discovering places that I need to discover. And this whole thing about putting a mask on, and it sucks and all that. But then you can find things you've never done that will at least open your eyes to something new.
Exactly. And our visitation is off the charts for that very reason. Wear a mask when you get here at check-in. And then as long as you're distanced from people, and we have 70 acres that you can wander around, you don't need to have a mask on. And people have come here in droves for that very reason. So we have, when you get here, 22 acres of formal gardens.
You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to pull it up for everybody out on the Zoom.
Perfect,
okay?
Perfect.
So everybody that's watching, I'll pull up Ladew. Because listen, I get mail, I hear stories, I see posts, all of that stuff, right? So you know what this reminds me of? First, The Shining, right? And the garden where the labyrinth that you walk around.
It's not that scary.
Or Field of Dreams or something like that. I mean,
that's better. Yeah.
Played a lot of baseball. I'm not a golfer, but I like nice open fields.
Nestor, Chuck Thompson's great niece works for me.
Well,
you know that.
Ain't the beer cold, huh?
I tell you. So we've got the cred there, but. So 22 acres of gardens, you saw the topiary, which is shaped plant material. There you go. That's the topiary, and that's just some of it. There are probably, I think, 111 topiaries on the property, and they make up the walls for different garden rooms and different structures within the gardens. Then that is our Garden Glow, which is our virtual event. Garden Glow has become, this will be the third year, it's one of the most popular things we do at Ladew. And usually it's 500 pumpkins and illuminated sculptures and all kinds of great things within the gardens. But it's really not appropriate to invite 2,000 people into Ladew in one evening and
wow,
shove them
you
all
have
together.
2,000 that many people. It's their annual event, family event.
Oh, it's a huge family event. So this year, thanks to a great group of sponsors who have helped us out, including Klein's, who donated 300 pumpkins, people are carving pumpkins, taking photographs, and then we're going to create a virtual glow, a combination of images from before and all the pumpkins that are being submitted. So people can come to Ladew, actually go onto our webpage right here, and you'll see how you can fill out an application. We don't have a lot of pumpkins left over. I think we have about 100 left, but anybody that wants to fill out an application and reach out and make sure we have pumpkins. Otherwise, get your own pumpkin from one of your local vegetable stands or one of the local stores and carve it and send a picture in to us by the 18th, and your pumpkin will be part of our glow. It's a great community gathering event. It's a great celebration of fall. The gardens look beautiful this time of year. We are open till the 31st of October, so you can come out and bring your lovely wife, and then you will get one of those things checked off your list. And we love Longwood, but we're significantly closer.
I absolutely, and but for me, in thinking about outdoor spaces as a kid, I'll just say this: I sneezed a lot,
Yeah.
golfing and freshly cut grass and bees and all of that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I'm way over that. The day we went to Longwood, it was about 102 degrees. So, I mean, it was a meltathon.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
And we need to go back there and see fountains and do all the symphony and do all that stuff as well. But we have definitely discovered stuff. And, I'm a sports guy. You know that, Emily. I've done sports here for 30 years. And in moving my conversations into other spaces as my interests have changed, and I'm a guy that went to 60 ball games a year, right? So that's 60 nights where I wasn't in Gardens and in Patterson Park and feeding the ducks and walking the city and doing other things.
But you were outside.
Absolutely, very much so, but preferred being at a ball game keeping score, right? So as things are taken away from us, and I would say this, and anybody that knows me knows this, that I miss a night at Merriweather as much as anything. A night out with music, any kind of live music at this point. And I know in so many open spaces like I would think over the last 10 or 15 years have reinvented what your place is, that even if I had been to your place 20 years ago when I first heard about it, that it'd probably be a little different now. And I know, look, I went to Longwood for the first time in 40 years, and I told my wife, it's got to be great. It's got to be great. I went on the website. I'm like, it's going to be great. We got there, and I didn't really recognize it, right? I mean, because things change, and I know you guys have been at this a long time trying to make this awesome.
Yep. We're a little bit more intimate than Longwood, smaller, a little bit more contained, but we have 1.5 miles long nature walk. We've got the gardens. Unfortunately, we had to cancel our summer concert season this year, but usually you can sit in that great bowl area by the topiary that you showed and listen to live music during the summer. So we look forward to getting back to all of that next year. But, we are open through the 31st, and we're open Thursday through Mondays. So we've seen, a huge number of people that are coming out for all the reasons that you said. They have taken this opportunity to do some things they haven't done in a while, and it's a great place. I mean, single adults, great dating location, but it's also a great place for kids. That's the nature walk.
I can hold hands with my wife. I pulled the butterflies up. For those people listening in the car or just not watching the Zoom and just hearing us, I pulled the butterflies up, and I see social distancing has messed up all sorts of things. I visited one of my favorite places, and you'll say I'm a perfect candidate to come to your place, right? Like, why haven't you marketed me more? But Butterfly World is a place just outside of West Palm Beach, Florida. And my wife and I have friends who have not a little boy anymore. They're never little for long, right? Feels like it was 5 minutes ago. It was 15 years ago. He's like a senior in high school, playing football and stuff. But when he was a little boy, we took him to Butterfly World, and it was like one of the great days ever that so many incredible. We talk about the zoo and different things people can do that are outdoor, that the ideas that come to people that once you do one thing, then you want to see something new. So for me, enjoying Longwood makes this sort of like, let me check out the map. What can we see there? Butterflies. They have butterflies. So
and Nestor, your great teacher that you had, we have a big educational program. We have about 4,000, 5,000 kids that come through a year. And that teacher that had all those creatures and all the leaves and things in the classroom, that's where it started for you. And that's what we're hoping to do. We see parents all the time that get brought in here by their kids, because they came here with a field trip when they were in second and third grade, and they remember the place. As a matter of fact, we had a bride and groom get married here, a West Point graduate, in June. And he had been here when field trips when he was a kid, as his wife had been. And they sort of came back here and had a small family wedding. I think we were still at that 12-person limit. So
wow.
Swords and the whole ceremony. And
Zoom camera, everybody watching like
there
that.
There you go. I don't even know if they did that. They should have. But anyway, we'd love you to come out. We'd love people to take this opportunity to go out, get out in nature. It is at a time that is really not very soothing. This is an incredibly peaceful place to be.
Just a couple weeks though. What happens after the 31st?
The 31st, we close down for the season because the weather, starts to become more of a complication. We do some Christmas stuff. We have a Christmas sale. People can look online for that because we make some greens out of items from the gardens. That was something that has been going on here for about 40 years. Next year, we open on April 1st, and it's our 50th anniversary.
Well, here's an open invite to come back in March as you guys get open in April. And that must be, first week of May at your place. Who needs the Masters, right?
Oh, exactly. And we have a huge azalea garden, so you would love it. You can bring
birds
a golf
chirp
club.
Out there like they do on TV?
Lots of birds, yep.
You know what
We're
I'm
not even
do?
piping them in.
I'll come out if they play the Masters on time next year. I'll come out and I'll hang out and I'll just pretend that I'm, in Augusta. We'll have a view party or something. I really appreciate it. Tell everybody how to get in touch in the best way. I know it's LadewGardens.com, but where you are in Monkton and the easiest people, sometimes people don't know what they pass 100 times and know it's there.
Exactly. Right? We are that fence on Jarrettsville Pike north of Jacksonville and south of Jarrettsville. So we're about 12 miles north of Towson, really, really close. 40 minutes shorter trip than going up to Longwood. We love them, but we're your local garden, and we'll be here until October 31st, and hope that everyone will tune in for the free garden glow on the 24th.
Azaleas, butterflies, pumpkins. What's not to like here, right?
Exactly. And Chuck Thompson's grandniece.
You know what? That's the best reason. If I would have known this, I have in the studio at NST. I always had it. It was the little Chuck Thompson bobblehead. It had 3 sayings on it. Ain't the miracle. Go to war, Miss Agnes. So it said those things, and then it like the battery died.
No.
It was one of those moments. But so we retired Chuck, but Chuck was always awesome to me. And I have a picture of me and Chuck and Don Moeller that if I could find it in 2 minutes, I would totally share it with you, because it always makes Don smile, because we have these sort of old school memories now that Don and I do the thing together. But in the old days, I used to do a thing called the Nasty Nice Guy Awards. And we did them for about 7 years. And actually, it's a great week for me to promote this, because I know you know of the legend of Vince Bagley, Emily, right?
Mm-hmm.
So Vince
absolutely.
Bagley passed last week. And Vince, we honored Vince many years ago, 1997, we honored Vince. And it was one of those nights, and Chuck came out, we had all the trophies out, and I took a picture, and I can't find it. Of course I can't find it, of Chuck Thompson and me and Don Moeller. I'll share it when I find it. And I'll attach it in the blog for people to laugh.
Bring it out, and we'll see if we can get Vince's daughter to join us too, who is a friend. So we'll have a baseball day at Ladew, and you can bring a golf club in May, and we'll have a golf day at Ladew. It'll be our new sports venue.
You're almost like the marketing executive over there as well. I love this. Executive Director of Ladew Gardens, just up the road in Monkton, Emily Emerick, joining us for the first but not the last time. Thanks for coming on. I appreciate it.
Nestor.
And getting out and doing different things. If I didn't have the Longwood experience, I wouldn't be able to, even compare it to anything. So I'm glad that my wife's dragging me out to certain places. She's having a harder time getting me to places where there might be like snakes or coyotes. You know what I mean? Those kinds of things.
We don't have any coyotes. We have a fence.
Yeah, frogs.
We have tons of frogs.
I like frogs. Okay, good.
Tons of frogs.
That'll remind me of my childhood.
Frogs on lily pads. It'll be perfect.
Emily, thanks for coming on. We appreciate it.
Thanks, Nestor. Take care.
Emily Emerick, she's the executive director of the Ladew Topiary Gardens. I've had the website up here. You can go out to Ladew. That's Ladew Gardens.com, and they're doing a really cool event a little later on in the month. They say we'll have 100 spaces left. You can find out more about that and carve up a pumpkin. And if it's your family tradition, make sure you know it's still happening, just not happening with 2,000 people on a lawn, even though it's a lovely lawn. And sorry, I compared it to The Shining. But it's what it looked like to begin with. It's my little vision. We are WNST.net, AM 1570, Towson, Baltimore. We never stop talking Baltimore sports and cool Baltimore stuff and Baltimore positive stuff like Ladew Topiary Gardens.